He stalked her, he lured her, and then he tortured her. This is not a horror movie plot. This is the real story of Trevor Summers, a man once known as a father of five, now branded a monster in the eyes of Florida's courts. On a quiet stretch of land deep in the woods of Manatee County, Florida, Trevor Summers was finally found. He had held his estranged wife captive for more than 2 days, abusing her physically and emotionally. When officers located him in that remote wooded area, secluded far from roads or towns, he was injured from a self inflicted gunshot wound to his neck, sitting beside his traumatized victim. It was a harrowing scene, but officers acted swiftly. Trevor was arrested and taken to the Manatee Memorial Hospital for treatment. His wife was hospitalized with him. She would survive, but her life forever changed. After his recovery, Summers was processed at the Hillsborough County Sheriff's headquarters and booked afterwards into the Orient Road Jail. His first court appearance was before Judge Robert Foster Jr., where he was ordered to be held without bond. Public defender Andrew Keefe was assigned to represent him, while Assistant State Attorney Jennifer Johnson began preparing the case for grand jury review. That grand jury came back with an indictment, 11 felonies. Let me repeat that, 11. The charges were brutal and comprehensive: attempted first-degree murder, kidnapping, sexual battery, burglary, grand theft auto, domestic violence, aggravated battery, false imprisonment, witness tampering, abuse, and resisting arrest. It painted a clear picture through this Florida state criminal probe of a man unhinged. Summers pleaded not guilty before Judge Mark Kisser, but shortly after, he fired his lawyer and opted to represent himself with his own defense. Yes, he acted as a sovereign citizen by proceeding to trial without counsel. On August 22nd, 2022, Trevor Summers stood trial in front of Circuit Judge Christopher Sabela. A jury of 12 members and 2 alternates listened to evidence. His wife, his victim, took the stand. The horror she described was enough to silence the courtroom. By August 26, just 4 days later, the verdict was unanimous: guilty on all charges. One of the felonies was downgraded to a misdemeanor, resisting arrest, but that did not matter. Judge Sabella rejected motions for mistrial nor acquittal. In October, the court returned with the hammer. The week of Yom Kippur, Judge Sabella sentenced him to life in prison for attempted murder, plus the charges for kidnapping and sexual assault stacked on the top. He also got 32 years for burglary and related offenses, plus 1 year in jail for resisting arrest. All sentences were to be run consecutively. That means no breaks, no parole, no mercy. He appealed, of course he did. Trevor Summers was represented on appeal by public defender Siopan Olivero. Julian Hayes handled the appeal for the prosecution. But in November 2023, the Florida Appeals Court said no. In March 2024, the U.S. Supreme Court said no. And in July 2024, Governor Ron DeSantis denied his pardoning request. Even the Innocence Project tasked on taking up his case. Trevor, as he was first rejected by that Florida appeals court in Lakeland, started his time in his assigned facility. He was directly placed into his permanent state prison. Trevor is now serving his sentence at the Okeechobee Correctional Institution. He was processed through the Orlando Inmate Reception Center and sent south to this prison that he will likely never leave. There are monsters among us. They don't always come with masks or horror movie soundtracks. Sometimes they come in the form of a father, a husband, a man no one expected. This is Strawberry Ink, and this has been the case of Trevor Summers. Take care, hug those you love very tightly, and have a good rest of your day.